This is brought to you by John Daniel and Partners LLP.
Good morning. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Frida Babu. I work in John Daniel and Partners LLP. We are happy to have you. So our speaker for today is Kenon Mwitimbae, MBA, CPA, sister. Is a seasoned finance professional with experience in supporting businesses with finance, leadership, strategy process, and setting up business management system. He has over 20 years experience in different sectors that include ICT, hospitality, and financial services. He has also handled matters to do with strategic management in finance and operations, and has a significant contributions in supporting businesses to identify and act on the value drivers for their strategies. He's very active in the startup space, and also is an angel investor and has invested in various startups in the food processing and ICT sector. He has also mentored many businesses. Some of them include the Founders Boost and the Integration Consulting Group. Yes, he is an MBA graduate, SBS with IESA International Module, and he holds a Bachelor of Commerce Accounting option. Professionally, is a fellow member of Association Chartered Certified Accountant, that's FCCA, and also holds a Certified Information Systems Auditor qualification. So, welcome, Mr. Kenon. We are happy to have you. Maybe you can mention if I might have left out something that's worth noting, and kindly to all the participants, if you join, remember to mute your microphones to give the speaker an ample time when he's addressing us. And also there's a chat section that you can use to raise any issues of concern. Welcome, Mr. Kenon.
All right. Frida, thank you very much for that introduction. I cannot add anything else. Thank you so much for that. And we are delighted to be part of this webinar today. I'll be taking us through about an hour of a discussion, but it will be a very engaging section because I've seen that most times the answers are with us already. So even as we start off, I wish to welcome our audience today and thank you so much to John Daniel and Partners for making it possible for this webinar to happen. So then before we start, I'd like to ask us one question, and please let us go to the chat section and answer this question. When you think about your business, when you think about your operation, it is one thing you can fix. And you feel if you do that, your business will thrive. What is that? Please go to the chat section. Frida will be looking out for the answers. What is one thing you feel if you fix this one, my business will thrive? We're looking out in the chat section to see answers that come out of this. Remember, when you walk into this webinar, it's about your business. It's about you talking about. Of course, to not ask you in uncomfortable questions. It's just generally speaking, what is that one thing that you feel you can fix? Lydia has started us off. Access to resources. If Lydia was to get access to resources, that would be the one thing that will change and turn around a business. Lydia, you can feel free to actually even tell us the business you're in on the chat section. You can let us know the industry that you're in. As you look at accessing resources, what industry are you in, right? But we are happy to give this question some few more minutes because we really need to hear from you. Of course, we prepared a webinar, but we want to engage at a level that meets you. Already have Lydia who's looking for access to finance. I'd probably request the rest of us to give us some responses. We have Nadine, we have Collins, we have Eda, Jimmy, John, William are in the class, and Mercy. Feel free to tell us one thing. And sometimes it might be difficult to probably single out one. Maybe you can put two, that's okay. But what is this one thing that you look out for? We have access to resources from Lydia. Lydia, let us know the industry that you're in. The reason we do this, ladies and gentlemen, is we want to speak to your businesses. We want to speak for things that you can actually apply when you leave this webinar, but we leave this one open. Please feel free, even after you proceed, to give us the one thing you feel, if this one was fixed, then I will be fine. Great. Let me also, I think this has already been said about me, but I like putting it up there so you know who is this who's talking to you. We are happy to engage with you in this webinar, but this was captured well by Frida. Resilience for businesses in 2024. Already it's 2 months down the year. So we have 10 months. If we are going to apply anything from this webinar in our businesses, it's 10 months to go. But I'll tell you, 10 months is a very long time. But what is this thing called resilience? What is it? So we've gone throughout and just looked at a few definitions or concepts, basically. Because again, for a business person, what you're interested in is not necessarily the scientific definition, but it is what is it? Thriving in a survival environment. There's no lying that our country is in a difficult place. Financially, if you look at all through the news, if you talk to businesses, things are not good. I mean, people are having to really dig a little bit deeper to survive. Now, Kenon is here talking about a contradiction. How can you thrive in a situation where people are surviving? But at least in terms of defining resilience, this is one definition. And if you can pick one or two things that will get you slightly ahead to thrive, because yes, even if it is survival, in fact, when you talk about resilience and when John Daniel picked this topic, it's very, very relevant. How do we thrive in an environment that is difficult? We're also looking at stepping into the unknown. There's a part of resilience that engages us to step into something unknown. I'll be sharing with you practical examples in the part as we go into the webinar. Stepping into unknown is part of exercising resilience in your business. How well can one withstand or recover changes? So you are in a situation where something has happened in your business, something is happening in a country, dollar rate is bad, now it's coming down, and supply chains are disrupted, taxes are a big issue. How then do we get to the other side? That is part of defining resilience, and some of the things we'll be looking at today is actually going to cover these items. We're talking about when the ship is rocked. You're in an ocean, things are going very well. Something comes up that really rocks your boat. And in your business, it could be a competitor comes your way and things really go bad. And so what was seemingly a very clear direction to take has now changed. It could also be regulation. It could be lack of dollars, whatever it is that comes, and or even staff turnover, something that was working so well, suddenly there is a problem. Resilience covers how do you deal with that. And then lastly, in a business, businesses are driven by people. And I believe in this webinar, you might have business owners, business leaders, managers. And when you walk into that organization, there are times when your energy levels are low. You actually don't feel like waking up in the morning because things are difficult. Resilience actually affects the person who's running the business. And so when these energies are low, how do you push forward in terms of running your business? So we thought this slide, those few remarks can help us see what is this we're dealing with today? What are the challenges on the table? And that is what it is. Of course, if you have any question, any comment, please feel free to put in the chat section. We'll be happy to address it. But now that we know what resilience is, every business then has a roadmap. And this is just a very general definition of how things run in a business. You start by knowing where you are. This is where I am today. That is step number one. Step number two, I know where I want to go. I want to go there. It could be a vision. There are many ways which businesses define their direction. The third step, how do I get from here to there? And that's not the definition of strategy. The simplest definition is simply that. Of course, it delves into more complex issues about implementing it and all, but that's the third step. And then the fourth step, what are these daily things I need to do? Since I know where I am and where I want to go, I have a general direction. What do I need to do on a daily basis? So if we get this model, then we are clear as we talk about resilience. Resilience can touch mostly step number four. Mostly step number four. Because it's so clear, I wanted to do this. I'm so clear, I have a plan, I have a direction. But as I take these daily steps or weekly steps or monthly steps, this is where the resilience is really, really tested. I thought to give some practical examples. I will give one business that is international, and I'll also give an example of a business that's happening in Kenya. And these are very simple observations. This company called Victorinox, it is known or was known at the time for manufacturing the Swiss knife. If you can see that Swiss Army knife there, it's a one in one knife that you can do so much. Maybe you might have seen it in the market today, or someone has given it as a gift. But that is what they were known for. Then suddenly in the environment, carrying of this knife was banned. It was illegal to actually carry this knife around. Now, these are companies that have invested systems, money, advertisement, branding, R&D. Everything they know to do is this knife. Then suddenly it's banned. As you'd expect, this was their major product, so the figures went down. Everything looked very gloomy. Now, the reason I bring this example is to test this thing called resilience. What did this company do? Victorinox took all that they've learned and started manufacturing watches. And actually, these things are, if you go to the internet, these are just advertisements of them advertising their watches. But look at what they've done. They have transformed their capability into a new direction. Their ship has been rocked. Regulation has hit them. This is their flagship product. They have invested a lot, but here they are facing a problem. They turned around and started doing manufacturing watches, and today their watches have actually taken over. The Swiss knife is still there, but it's not what it used to be when it was out there. So that's an example practically of how resilience looks like. Of course, you might feel, you Konje, bring us back home. But the point, and I'm going to bring you home in a short while, the point is to see resilience in action. Let's take another example, this time back home. This company called Glovo. I observed Glovo when they came in. The point I want to make here is Glovo came in as a delivery company. And as we know them, you want food, you go into their app and you get your food. What got my attention is an advertisement they had put on the billboards at one point. And they said, Glovo, we help you save your parking fees. Obviously, that would catch your attention right away. How is a food delivery company talking about parking fees? Of course, when you go further, what we're trying to put across, and even the billboard was clear, instead of you driving to a supermarket and parking your car or your Uber or your tuk-tuk or however you got there, you go up to the shop, buy whatever you need to buy, come back to your car and drive off. So they said, you want to focus on that. You stay at home, stay in your office, stay wherever you are. Just ask us to bring it. And you see what they were doing, and that's a very clear example of resilience for me. They are adapting to what they find in the market. You know, they could come and say, people are not ordering for food. But someone went one step further and said, how do we turn this into a narrative that you can put ahead there? So for me, when I saw that, I thought that's a very practical example that has happened. I saw that billboard in Kenya about resilience. Of course, at this point, it is what points are you picking for your business? It could not be Victorinox. It may not be global, but it's a concept. When you think about it, and we'll be engaging you towards the end of the webinar, when you take practical steps, what are you going to do when you leave this webinar? What is it that you can start doing a bit differently? Because these companies were hit by big things, but they've managed to get on the other side of the story. Now, let's then look at two other things here. We're talking about resilience. There are two levels. As I said, there is the business owner, which is you and I in this webinar, and there is your business. Most times you find in an SME environment, sometimes creating that demarcation may not be very easy because your business and you are almost the same. So let's look at one at a time. You as the owner or the manager or whatever role you run in your business, when you hear the word resilience, it's applicable to you as a person. In fact, as you're creating resilience, you create resilience in yourself first. It is known that the environment you create inside of you, the attitudes you create inside of you, the decisions you make within you, and most times, and I've seen this in Kenya, we rarely talk about our problems. Mambo ikoaje? Niko sawa. All things are good. But beneath that answer, there is a paining person, there is a struggling person, there is a stressed person. The idea about resilience is to deal with that first. What is your motivation? What feelings go through you as you go through the business? Of course, this is not a counseling session, but when you talk about resilience, it is important to get the right feelings. I'm in business, and there are days I wake up and I feel low, I feel bad, I feel beaten, I feel defeated. I mean, it's practical. There are other days I wake up and I'm in such high spirits. I feel this will work. Whatever it is. Now, those are two different versions of Canon. Resilience means how do you keep attracting the positive feelings? Because we're human beings. And we're not saying you run away from trouble, but it's important to look at resilience from that perspective. What is your compelling reason? What is that thing that makes you keep going? Now, that's the first angle when you're talking about resilience. You as a person, you as the leader, you as the vision bearer, you as the owner of the business, whatever role you take, it's important for you to get it from that perspective. Now, once you get that right, now let's go to your business. Hatutaki nyumba ianguke. Resilience means how do you manage to keep your business afloat? Things will come that will hit us. And I've said that over and over again. But resilience as a business owner means you make adjustments, and I'll be talking about them towards the end of this webinar. What are these adjustments I'm talking about? But it's important for you to see resilience as this business has to thrive. Some things are painful, but needs to be done. And also take the example of hibernation. If you look at when you learn biology, animals like frogs and those other animals that when things are bad, they go under. They're not dead. They're just taking a wise decision to reduce their energy consuming activities. That's hibernation. Those are some of the things, the practical things you need to do in your business, and I'll be talking about them. But resilience means nyumba isianguke. Whatever business you're running, you could be running whatever industry you're in. And I'm happy actually, if you're able to put in the industry you're in, then I can give you relevant examples even as we proceed with this webinar. But whatever industry you're in, what do you need to do to keep your business up and running? These two aspects, they're not talking about resilience in a holistic fashion, the person and the business. Okay, so I'll still be looking out in the chat section. Should you have any question, comments? Remember, there's a question we asked for those who are joining us after the webinar started. Please go to the chat section and give us. There's a question we asked. If there's one thing that you can fix in your business and things work, what is that? We already got one of the participants talking about access to resources. That's okay. Please go ahead and feel free, even as you go in this webinar, what is that one thing, if you fixed, then your business will thrive? That is for the people who've joined in. Freely will be looking around to see any other engagements you get in the chat section. Again, if you have any question, concern, comment, feedback, you can even disagree with what we are saying, please put it on the chat and we'll be able to address it. I'll take the next few moments now to talk about resilience drivers. Okay, no, actually, no. Let's talk about the SME reality. Actually, before we leave this, let's actually open up and talk a little bit about what is this reality we're facing. Thank you very much. I'm seeing more responses coming in on the chat. Reliable human resource. Thank you very much for that, Frida. John T is talking about the right systems. I like that. I like that. We'll be talking about this, and we can see 3 clear things that have come up: access to resources, reliable human resource, and the right systems. But I have what I consider the SME reality, Hapa Kenya, here and now. And you can see, I think Lydia's have already picked it up: access to credit, the right systems. It must be somewhere. If it's not, then it's okay. We can add it here. But let's talk about this. Maybe I'd invite 1 or 2 people to either speak about the item you've put in the chat as a concern for your business, or you can even choose one on my slide here and make a comment on it. Please feel free to switch on your microphone and let's have a discussion here. I'll be happy to see any of us who wants to talk about this reality as you know it. Let's enrich this webinar with practical things. But I'm looking out for any answer, any question, any person who might want to make a comment here. We are happy to hear from you. Please go ahead, switch on your microphone. By the way, if there are no right answers, there are no wrong answers. This is not about giving a perfect answer. It's about actually engaging and having this webinar count for you. Let's see. Anybody who might want to make a comment on this one here? What reality have you faced in your own business? Anybody who might want to give it a shot, we'd be happy to hear from you. I am sure we can get an answer, this being SMEs, this being business owners, this being business managers. Please speak about your own experience. You don't even have to quote your business if that's an issue. Just talk about these as realities. I'm keen to at least hear from one of us, so that I'm not my voice is not the only one recorded in the webinar. But let's hear from us. I see we have Awais, we have Beatrice, we have Dennis, Eda, we have Jimmy, John, Julie, Lydia. Mercy, Teresia, Veronica, William, David, William, and Pascaline. I'm happy to hear from any of us. Can give it another 30 seconds. What is this reality you face? And when you came to this webinar and you're talking about resilience, we already have an idea what resilience is. Frida, yes, please go ahead.
My name is Jane. Sorry if the name is not well captured. It's okay.
Go ahead, Jane.
Thank you, Kenon. Maybe I would mention about competition on just a simple view of it. I think there are times I have offered my services at a certain cost after doing my calculations, and you give an amount to it, and it's possible to just look around and see someone giving it at a very cheap cost. Not that it's substandard service, but just sitting and thinking, I am starting. If I quote a lesser amount than what I'm quoting, I'm not going to be in business again. But this person is maybe established. They have very good systems. They're able to give a very good discount because probably they have a way of reducing their production cost. Probably they have quite a number of customers. So it becomes a bit of a challenge to venture into a business as a starting person, because probably they already have cheaper costs and they have already established themselves. So for me, that one has been quite something in terms of a challenge, the competition. Thank you.
Super. Thank you very much, Jane. I appreciate that. Are you free to tell us the industry you're in, or we proceed with general examples?
I'm just operating on my own, doing social media management and graphic design.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jane, for
You're
that. Okay, sorry, did I interrupt someone else? Okay. Great. So Jane brings a very practical issue here. Someone has just started off a business. You have done your math, you have done your research, you have produced whatever you're producing, whether a good or a service, and you've gone to the market. Your price is 1,000 shillings, but then you find someone giving that 700, and Jane gives us the answer. The person is really established, they can afford to give discounts. This is a reality. This is a very practical reality that catches my attention. And then maybe the comment to make about competition, it will always be there. There is something about positioning yourself and creating a certain perception in the market. Have you ever wondered how all those people who are lined up in a kiosk, their kiosk after another, one after another, same thing, same everything, but each of them seems to get their customers. Now, the thing is to encourage Jane and anybody else who's going through this, because it's a resilience test. Keep doing what you're doing. It might mean you grow slower than you thought, than you anticipated, because again, the idea of a price war, when the price war coming into a business, I can tell you, we are all eating ourselves up. In fact, price brings a perception of quality. If you've never noticed that, if you go to a shop or go buy a pair of shoes, are going to be compared one point and buying shoes. Wanakwambia, hizi za chini ni 200. Hizi za juu ni 400. That alone makes you feel, if I'm going to pay 400 instead of 200, there's a reason, that there's something driving me to actually pay it. And of course, sometimes when you look at the difference in quality, yes, it's there, but some things can pass. My point is, position yourself at the price that you feel you want to be. You might grow slower, but you'll start developing yourself as a brand of sorts. We know that Gikomba, vitu za juu ni 400, vitu za chini ni 200, same market. I'm hoping, Jane, that might start giving you some insights into this reality of competition about your business. But let's hear, you let us know, Jane, if that's okay. Of course, this webinar may not give you all the answers, but at least it starts giving you some perspectives. We're talking about resilience. Lazima tufungue kazi kesho. Tomorrow we'll wake up and go to work. What is this thing that makes us keep going? I'm hoping, Jane, that has managed to answer your question. But maybe you can take one more. What is the reality you're facing in your SME? Because when John Daniel and partners brought up this webinar, the idea is to bring out practical things that you face every day. John Daniel are experts in financial management, and they'll come to your businesses. But before they come there, we want to bring out what are these issues that you face as a business. Maybe you can take one more response and deal with it as we get. I think we're almost halfway through the webinar now. Anybody else who might want to make a contribution? Okay. If you can give it another 30 seconds, as we probably want to regroup our thoughts, wondering, should I say, should I not say? Please say it. This is an investment of your time that you want to ask a question. Even if we don't have the answers, Mwalimu Biashara and John Daniels will be bold enough to tell you, we'll take it as a note and give you an answer later. But I'm stressing on this slide here because for your business to move forward, it needs action. And these are precursor to the slide I'm going to bring later. What action are you going to take? Even if it's only one, okay? Taking that action is what you're building a case for, but I'm happy to proceed. Should you have any other comment, please feel free to put it in the chat. But let's talk about, John T has already talked about the right systems, which is very important. And when you say systems, I'll be talking about that towards the end of the webinar. Most times when you hear systems, we feel it is IT, it is a computer, it is a software, which makes sense in a certain way. But here, systems is business management systems as a whole. How do you recruit people? How do you motivate them? How do you keep them engaged? How do you exit them or fire them? That is a system in itself. It's a human resource system. If like in the social media and graphics like Jane, what systems do you have to create awareness, understand what the customer is looking for, what are their brand colors, what do they want to put across, then use that to bring out the kind of graphics that capture what the customer is wanting. That is very personal and intangible. And then how do you do your quality control that when things are going out there from your organization, you're giving good quality to your people now? That is a system. So John, I wanted to probably expand the comment you put on the chat. It's actually more than just IT. Businesses are run by multiple systems. I see access to resources from Lydia. These resources here, Lydia, I'm taking it, it is both money and probably expertise. But let's talk about money, might be the easy one. Is it business ideas that need money, or is it you have the money and look for business ideas? This question I encountered very many times. Which comes first? Is it the money or the business idea? So when you're talking about access to resources there, Lydia, the idea is they work together. It's unlikely that you come to the market with a working idea. It hits the ground running. In my own experience, I've looked at my own business. The version of the first product I did and the current product I have, they are heaven and earth. So even as I'm talking about access resources, if I'd gotten money when my idea was very new, truth of the matter, I would have wasted money. Because a lot has happened to move this idea to a certain place. And I'm not saying we don't need the money, Lydia. But I'm saying it's creating that right balance. If you have a well-developed idea, thought out, tested, it attracts money. Even as you go out to pitch for the resources, someone can see this will work. So the idea for Lydia, as you think about access of resources, move to a place where it is actually attractive. In fact, it needs to be at a place where kuna mahali utafika uache kukataa pesa fulani, because you don't want to give out a lot of what you've already developed. So it's a very fine balance there. But again, you also could be at a place where you've actually developed, you've done all I've said, but you still need the money. So I think there are levels, and I think John Daniels and partners can be very useful for that. In the experience, they are finance people. They can help you then structure your business in a way that you can access resources. Okay, I just thought to address those. I see there's one about reliable human resource. I think the comment I can make about that on the chat there also. Of course, we all need people to work for us. Gen Z is an issue. I had a webinar the other day talking about people telling me, when you talk about human resource canon, don't think about the 40-year-old plus. Don't think about that human resource. That's not a problem. Think about 40 years and below. It's not a money issue anymore. It is not. It is the fact that they don't want to stay. First, they don't want to work harder. Two, they don't want to stay. Three, they want a lot of money. So Jenny, that's the challenge you're facing there. For me, what I've seen is you can identify one level less on the resources you're looking for. In terms of, fine, I want someone with a degree. By the way, I have as you've seen, I have all those degrees and everything. I'm not saying they're not important, but you can decide to take a diploma because you realize, first of all, the expectations are okay. Secondly, these are a teachable person and someone who can grow with you. I've seen if you start maybe a few notches lower, there is the element of training them and bringing up to speed, but I can tell you it's not as bad. That might be one we might want to deal with the human resource problem, Jane. And I'm taking it's 40 years and below where there's a challenge. The real challenge there is, who is this who's going to help you do the work that you want done? Right. So I think I'll leave this slide, but this for me is one of the most important slides in this webinar, where we're talking about your reality on the ground. Of course, we're happy to get your comments, questions even after this. I think John Daniel and partners will be able to collate all these for us. Now, let's then get to a few pointers then. What makes resilience work? We call them resilience drivers. The first one is the attitude. And I think there's a slide I showed you earlier, resilience for the person, resilience for the business, the resilience for the team. There's a tendency for the human being to wake up and look at the negative side. Me included, we do that. The challenge with that, if we dwell there so long, it sucks our energy. It sucks our joy. It sucks our hopes. It crushes our dreams. And then you start off on the wrong footing. Remember, nothing has changed. Taxes are happening. Corruption is happening. Competition is happening. All those things I've put in the earlier slide are happening. But when you talk about a resilient attitude, we are not wishing them away or pretending they're not there. But it is waking up with the right mindset about it. So even if we talk about it and we hold meetings and over coffee, that's the only thing we're lamenting. Remember, we are human beings. The human being is affected by that. Okay, so for me, this is a huge driver. There are good days and bad days, but largely speaking, just tell yourself, I'm going to go through this. Now, this is not a motivational talk. This is a practical application in your business, because I have seen, and as I said in my own experience, I wake up sometimes a very strong person in business. I wake up a very weak person in business. I've seen the difference, and I prefer the strong person. Okay. Second is customer centricity. In the examples I gave about Glovo and the other company that does Swiss knives, Victorinox, focus on your customer. Of course, probably this has been said so many times. If you're able to give your customer what they need, they'll pay for it. I'll give an example. Sometimes I've taken a matatu. There's a I'm traveling up country, so there's a matatu, imeweka kibao hapo. They don't fear the price they're putting. It is a 13-seater. It's probably 300 shillings more. Now those people, they don't pembeleza you much. And even when you go in, you're not being harassed. You're not being torn all over the place. It's, you know where you're going. You've seen the price. You've seen the comfort. And if you want to get to the car, this is how it looks like. And when you go there, they don't harass you. After some time, they take their fare in a very orderly fashion. You all switch on, make a seatbelt, and you travel. There is another matatu on the side that is charging 20 shillings less. But first of all, you're crammed into that matatu. Even before you leave, your knees are paining. And by the way, I have great respect for people who can't afford. I'm not saying that there are people who can't afford actually to pay the extra 300. I'm very aware about that. But here there's a point I'm driving. My point is, these two matatus are serving two different customers. Here it's not a price, it's not a question of price anymore. It's the fact that matatu one has served a certain customer who wants something, who is willing to pay for it. And that's the resilience driver. As you do your businesses, I think I'll pick Jane because she talked about her business here. You're doing social media marketing and graphics. Keep your eye on the ball. Focus on that 1-2 customers who are looking for what you're offering and listen to them. Listening to the customer is extremely important for it to get to the other side of your success. Another resilience driver is financial planning. I mean, we're in business, it's about numbers. And I see questions have come about access to resources. You have to understand your figures. You really have to understand. And I'm not saying going all the way. John Daniels and Partners, in fact, this is their slide. They will help you with financial planning. Financial planning means the past, the present, and the future. And for me, I say the past is only 20% of your energy because it's gone. The present is 30% of your energy. The future is 50% of your energy. That's what you're looking at. So where are we headed moving forward? And this will start guiding your decisions. Okay, do we downsize? Do we change offices? Do we go a different market? This is a very important slide in terms of it being a resilience driver. And I would strongly, of course, I'm not marketing, but I know John Daniels Partners will sort you out on this slide. I don't need to say more. Risk management, again, what can go wrong? Now, I have done trainings for a while, and anytime we talk about risk management, the audience switches off on you because no one wants to hear bad news. No one wants to hear it. I've done this at a personal finance management level. I've done this at a business level. But I'd like us to look at it differently. Risk management does not stop at the bad news. It actually starts at the bad news. Gari imeanguka, mali imeibiwa, my staff has stolen from me, I've fallen sick, someone has passed on. That's where risk management starts. You need to be aware of what can go wrong. But it is more important to be prepared to do something about it. And for me, as I'm talking about risk management, that's a focus area. It doesn't stop at just us talking doom and gloom. Now, the doom and gloom is here. It will stay with us. It is moving your perspective into what should happen in the future. It's called anticipating. You anticipate on 2 levels. What's the impact? Should that thing happen, how bad will it hit my business? That's impact. Then likelihood. How likely is it to happen? Then again, that can help you with your risk management plans. Again, the accountants in the house, John Daniels and Partners, that's their forte. They can help your business with risk management. The purpose of this webinar today is just to have a conversation and raise some awareness. I probably have maybe 2 more. Then, yeah, business systems. I think I've talked about that from the comment that came from John T. I covered that, but again, it's important for us to have the right systems for businesses to withstand this weather, this storm. That system needs to be working. The advantage of having a system is you know what to change, and then you can be agile. Agile means you can change it quickly. That's important. So if you have a way of doing things and there's a change that needs to happen, there's something you need to adapt to, then you can quickly change with agility. That's why the business systems is also a resilience drive. I think I've already spoken about that. Great. So far, what have we covered in this webinar as we bring it to a close? We know what resilience is. And number 2, we know the drivers. You know, what are these things that make it happen? Okay. So then as we close, there's one thing in this whole story that I want to highlight, because it will never go away. Focus on your customer. Now, there's a whole course and thought and talk about customer service, know your customer. There's a whole subject. But I thought to bring this out as it is one thing, us in business, in SMEs who are giving goods and services. This is so important. And there are a few steps. What is a customer's real problem? Now, when you say real, most of the times as a business person, you might want to get this answer in your meetings or in your boardrooms or with your teams. Most of the time, 60% is with the client. Ask them. Have a system to speak to your clients. What is your pain point? Of course, there are many ways of doing it. Once you understand what the real problem is, when I go for a haircut, what is making me go for a haircut in Baba 1, not Baba 2? Probably it is the massage that follows. Just giving an example. That feeling that after they do my hair and my head and everything, they are aware of just massaging my shoulders and my neck, and I feel so relaxed. Now I'm no longer going for a haircut. The real problem is more than a haircut. Now you provide a unique solution. Now, unique does not mean it has never been seen in this world, because most of the time, most of the things have been seen. Uniqueness means, how do you provide it faster or more convenient or attached with something or easier, get it on people's phones. The unique solution does not mean, and we advise businesses, we're not talking about you inventing something that has never been seen. It's unlikely you'll get that one. Then obsess over the solutions. How do you give the customer this solution? How do you talk to this person over and over again? We develop apps in the organization. I'll be showing you one in a short while, which we'll be giving out to you to go try it for free. But that has helped me with this part. Developing systems, you change so many versions. You start off this way, you listen to the market, you change. You listen over this, and of course it's costing money, but the point is obsessing over giving your customer the solutions is the best example I can give. Then map out the customer journey. How do you start with the customer? Where do you start off with them? Where do you even get them? Where are they? How do you speak to them so that they hear you? What medium are you going to use? Okay, now they've come in. How do you give them an excellent experience? How do you answer their questions? How do you manage the expectations? How do you deal with the people who come in and they are sumbua? All those things are there. Map out that journey. Then when they leave, how can you reinvent yourself? That's mapping the customer journey. Then establish the customer touch points. Is at what point do they deal with you? So they are making a call to place an order for cartons. Assuming in the manufacturing business, someone calls and says, I have a delivery, I'm an exporter, I want to buy cartons from you. The way they are handled by the person who picks that call is a touch point. They move on forward. The way they are asked for the money is a touch point. The way they are asked for references, touch points are areas in which the customer deals with you. Then, of course, automate as much as possible. Automate, again, does not mean expensive things. It means try and make a system move without your manual intervention. And you could automate in small bits and pieces and then fade. I'm not here to sell any denomination, but in the way that you believe in a supreme being, that supreme being that you believe in will help you. So it's important to get the customer centricity in this sense. I've talked about an app we've developed, an app called Business Partner. It's developed by Wezesha. Feel free to go download it and test it. What does this app help you do? Of all the things, it just helps you determine where am I going to get business for tomorrow. That's all this app is doing. It's not an accounting software. It is not. It is just very, very simple. How do I know where to get my customer tomorrow? Secondly, it helps you realize, how come I didn't get my customer? I thought it would work this way. That answer is so important. Is it my team that failed me? Is it I was looking at the wrong markets? That reason why you did not succeed is recorded. There are some who say, ni kimungu mungu tu, which is okay. Turn that kimungu mungu into data. Maybe I actually did not do it well. And of course, it's a very personal space. And the way I developed this app, I worked in corporate, like I said, for a number of years as a finance person. I could watch salespeople come to give their reports. Of course, I'm the one who's looking for the numbers, have the budget. You said you're going to sell 20,000. How much did you sell? First of all, the person may not even know exactly what they sold. There is a problem. So they are hammered proper. Then after that, okay, let's assume you sold 16. Or not even 16 is good. Let's assume you sold 8. What happened? I saw salespeople fumbling with answers to just patch up a story and close that meeting. That's why I developed this app, because that salesperson should know exactly what went wrong. If they get that right, so they'll be hammered in the first few months, but after that, they become a star, because I know for sure it doesn't work. So those are some of the things that you get in this app. Please go ahead and download it. You can use it. You can call us separately. You can help with that. Next steps. What are you going to do when we leave this meeting here? Get the right team. It is so important for you to get a team that's engaged. Then there is a diversified customer base. I've given an example of Glovo. I've given an example of Victorinox, and there are many examples in your system. What do you start doing? During COVID, of course, you see people who have started just doing masks, and it became a proper business line. They're diversifying how many customers you can reach. They know your numbers. Again, John Daniels and partners are experts in this, differentiating cash flow and profits. Profits is sales minus expenses. Cash flow means how much money do I have today to run my business? So if people have not paid me, as much as I'm recording profits in the books, it's affecting me today. This is so important for resilience. In fact, again, that Victorinox company, they are known to have used their own financial resources to move from doing Swiss knives to doing watches. But it's because they have the money. If they didn't have the money, then it would have been a different story. So know your numbers. Of course, cost cutting is there. Painful, but it's necessary. What can you reduce tomorrow? And the last thing you should be reducing is the costs that help you acquire new business. That should be the last thing to cut, not the first. I see most people starting with cutting that budget. That's the last one. But look for these other things. What can you do differently for you to be able to weather the storms of resilience? Of course, technology and digital transformation is important. If you're able to get things running digitally. You move faster. Then you need support from your suppliers who is that we're going to stand with you as you go through the resilience journey and then understand your business environment. You got about PESTEL. What's the political environment? What is environmental, social, technological, economic, and legal? I think that's what it stands for. But it's basically having what are your industry trends? What is happening in your market? And what can you do different? So, ladies and gentlemen, that's about it from my side. I'll probably just summarize what we've learned today. As I said, what is resilience, what it is, we know the resilience drivers, and we know the next steps to take. I'm sure you're going to get this recording, and these notes are also available. I also want to put up my contacts here. Should you want to reach out as Mwalimu Biashara, what we do, we basically do financial literacy. We help people with the financial literacy at a personal level and also at a business level. Check out our website to do a lot more. We help people with managing their strategies. How do you get your business from here to there? What are those steps you follow? We talk about corporate trainings, but there's a lot else that we do. But our main reason we wake up every morning is to empower people with knowledge that helps them translate their aspirations and objectives. You're translating them into action. What do you do from tomorrow? And what do you get out of that? What are the tangible results out of it? So that's about it from my side. I thought to leave a few minutes also. Should we need any question and answers, then you're able to take them up. But I think I want to hand it back to Frida to help us facilitate any question and comments section. But asanteni sana. It was nice talking to you today. Again, my name is Kenon Bai. Let me take it back to Frida. Back to you, Frida. All right. Thank you, Lydia. I see your comment in the chat. We are happy that you found this helpful. Asante sana, Jane Wawero. Thank you so much also for your comment there. We are happy to get that feedback from you. Right. Okay. Great. I'm sure this will be shared later on by John Daniels and partners. But let's hear, maybe I don't know if Fred is in the call or anybody else from John Daniels and partners to usher us to conclusion. But that's it on my side.
Hello. Thank you very much, Mr. Kenon, for that wonderful presentation. I see people asking if the presentation will be shared. Yes, the presentation will be emailed to you by the end of tomorrow. And then I see a comment from Ebenezer: customer centricity, the lifeblood of SMEs. I think that is his take home. If there is anyone in the session with any question, feel free to raise it in the chat box, or you can. And I see there's a comment from Mutevia. Hi, my name is Mutevia. I help people to make passive income through affordable or rental apartments. This is a great session. Maybe a question: what is the role of personal branding in being customer centric? Is asking what is the role of personal branding in being customer centric.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you,
yes.
Mutelia, for that question. Maybe I can take it. So I see you are helping people make passive income through affordable rental apartments. What's the role of personal branding? So maybe let me approach it this way. Let's just open up. What is this personal branding first? What is it? How does it look like? And the question I'll raise there is, if we were to look for 20 Kenyans who help people make passive income through affordable rental apartments. I'm taking Mutelia's example. Of course, you can take this in your own business. If you are to look for 20 Kenyans who help people make passive income through affordable rental apartments? Will you be one of them? Now, I'm not even asking for an answer, but I'm asking us to think through that question. So I'm in the digital space and social marketing and graphics design. If you are to call 20 Kenyans, would you be one of the 20? I'm an accountant, or I'm a marketer, I'm a lawyer, I'm a saloonist, I'm a manufacturer of paper. Personal branding means you're getting yourself into that group of 20. That's how I look at personal branding. That we know Motevia as, if you want anything around affordable rental apartments and making passive income, that is the go-to person. Now, for me, that's now the perspective of being a personal brand. Obviously, even before I proceed, you can see how attractive you will be to customers. So Motevia, they are completely intertwined. If you're able to, all of us, continue developing excellence, that we are the top 20 Kenyans doing what you're doing. We can take it to top 50, top 100, top 1,000, whatever the number you want to use. I'm using 20 as an example. That you are so good at what you do that we know you as a personal brand. Of course, now there are things that go with that. How long have you done it? What's your differentiating factor? Why we come to, to the next person? Remember my example of a matatu and one that is 13-seater, one that is crammed with eggs and chicken. What is this thing that makes people come to you? And it's important for you to be an expert at what you do. Now, an expert does not mean you're always right. An expert means you're able to listen to the problem and offer a solution. There's also the aspect of time. You do it over time. I've seen that brands and getting known takes time. Of course, if you can shorten that journey, the better. But sometimes you might grow wary if you want to move too fast. So take your time. Let people know Mwalimu Biashara, they train people in finances, whether it's personal finance or corporate finance. Now, I've sung that song for the last 3 years, and I'll continue singing it. But at least the 30 people in this webinar today know Mwalimu Biashara for that. So you see what is happening, it is a journey. Then obviously you're going to attract the right customers. I'm hoping that's helpful. You can let us know about that. I see James Kinothia. Thank you for the great information, Asante James. Your greatest struggle is hiring the right personnel and retention, especially Gen Z issue. It's a pandemic. That's James from Eleva Interactive. I believe that's the name of your organization, James there. I can't agree more. I'm in the business where my entire staff members are Gen Zs. And I hear what you're putting across here. Maybe to share my own experience, James, and maybe anybody else in the audience who has something to put across this Gen Z problem. I think I've tried to understand their motivations. I know that they want a lot of money within a very short time. And I've also seen, again, I'm happy to hear maybe James, even before I proceed, maybe James, would you be bold enough to probably switch on your microphone? Just expound into this question. Let's hear James, if you don't mind, so that I can actually have different versions of this problem. Tell us about your experience about these Gen Z issues, then I'll share it with you, James, if you're able to.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much for the great information. This is a great forum. I think for me, even, we do social media management and help SMEs in the digital journey. But as you have seen, the struggle I have is now hiring the right people. The thing is, sometimes you cannot, let's say, wing it. What you write on the CV and what is, once you get onto the job, you find that they're not, tallying. So people lie on the CV, but some things you cannot lie about them. but also for staff moving on very quickly. It affects business in terms of the turnover. Clients now tend to question, why is there, high turnover in your organization? Because people are moving very fast, and that affects also business.
Okay. Thank you very much, James, for that. I think you bring very good perspectives there. In fact, the line on the CV is a very good perspective you bring. And of course, the turnover. I think we share the same perspective. So what I've seen, especially on the line on the CV, James, and anybody else who might be needing some advice on this, is how we interview. So for me, I really look at the CVs a lot. I just look at the CV to know your name, and just to get a basic feel of who's walking through the door. But the interview is meant to be practical. I walk in and I tell you, this is my website. And by the way, what I do even when recruiting is I tell them this even before they come for the interview. Tell them this is my social media agenda. I have a client who wants their LinkedIn profile updated, and they want to meet this kind of audience. This is their customer journey. This is how they acquire customers. They put LinkedIn advertisements. Now, you see, I'm walking the person through the exact thing that happens in my business day to day. At that point, I'm not focusing a lot on what we've written. I just actually want you to do it. And then I do it in such a way that I'll quickly pick if the person is just playing games with me or they have an idea. Again, of course, you being in a business, you'll actually understand it well to know I can see someone who can do it. I'll give a simple example like driving. If someone says they've driven tipper trucks for the last 30 years, so the thing I do is park a tipper truck there and tell them, move this luggage from here to here, then reverse the tipper truck and park it at 45 degrees. Of course, I'm pulling things from the air. But if that person is able to do that, I've dealt with the line on the CV part, at least. Okay, yeah, I think one of my connections went off. So I was talking about the second part of quick turnover. And I was saying, if you understand your business well, it would mean that you are the face of the business. And you are in touch with your clients such that they know, yes, you are the main person. You might delegate the work, but try not to lose contact with the client in terms of you being the service deliverer. Of course, in the social media, someone has connected with a certain graphic designer so well. If that graphic designer goes, the person feels uncomfortable. I totally understand that. But it's to give your clients the overall confidence that the business is still running. I mean, everyone will understand staff turnover, but handle it in such a way that you have a direct presence. No, let me say indirect presence in your business in terms of managing the turnover of the Gen Z people. But James, you let us know if that starts to give perspective to the question you've raised. Right. Yeah, Muteri, I can see your comment there. I'm happy to interact after the session. I think I shared my number right there. I'm happy to engage Muteri. Asante sana. Super. So back to you, Frida. In case there are any other questions, comments, we're happy to take them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kenon. As we wait for any person to raise their questions in the chat box or unmute and raise their questions, maybe I can share something about our farm. So we are John Daniel and Partners LLP, our certified public accountant. We believe in teamwork, integrity, and excellence. And we normally organize such monthly webinars, and they are free of charge. And they are very many topics we choose from. So you are welcome to join us in our next webinar, which will be happening in March. The recording of the session will be shared in our emails. Our office is located in Commodore Office Suites in Kilimani. That's our contact information. Like if you would like any details about us, you can contact us at info@jondaniel.co.ke or reach us directly via phone. That is 0722-817-818. We offer services such as bookkeeping and accounting, tax advisory, internal and external audits, and management advisory. And we would be happy to have you. Our key partners or some of the clients that we have served over the years, they are diverse clients, some of them in the real estate industry, such as Eco-Prime, Marifa Homes. We also have worked with schools, NGOs like Roots Kenya. We have also worked with Bata and also been consultants with the government. And we have also worked with other accounting firms such as Libra Consulting. We have also worked with a wealth management institution known as Poor McDonald and the Rotary Club of Nabo. We are key partners with Zero. We are certified advisors of Zero, and also we have partnered with WorkPay. So the accounting software, it's a cloud-based accounting software, and we make like work easier for you to concentrate on your other professional businesses. So we help you anything to do with accounting, tax issues, audit issues. Yeah. So feel free to contact us. And then the business approach that we use, we take time to understand your needs. Then we contract you, we plan and deliver what you may need. And then we discuss and consult with you. And then we develop a solid relationship with you. Yes, that's it about us. And thank you very much for plugging in today. So I see there's a comment from Lynette. If the session is recorded. Yes, the session has been recorded. We will share the recordings with everyone in your email. If there is no any other comment or question, you are free to leave the meeting. Thank you very much for joining us. Hope you picked something for your businesses, and we are looking forward to having our next webinar. Asante.
This is brought to you by John Daniel and Partners LLP.